Part 167. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1661. The actual application of the fusion in the game is somewhat different from Xiaoming's own estimation. The main reason is that Xiaoming forgot that his game character is actually quite weak. The adventure level of the diver is just over the 3rd level. Although the attributes of the Naga tribe are relatively better, they still cannot break through the limit of the D level. Facing the S level master, the reason why the diver is stronger than the 7th level A level alien guard Lao Bi and can resist beatings is entirely due to the endless supernatural energy brought by Xiaoming himself. Therefore, in reality, the S level Xiaoming and the A level Mind Beast fusion cannot improve his physical attributes much. But in the game, the improvement that the 7th level Lao Bi brings to the 3rd level diver is very terrifying. According to the rule set by Xiaoming for the mind ability 1 add 1 2, although it is not possible to make the result of 1 add 1 greater than 2 for the time being, it can ensure that it is greater than 1. In other words, the attributes after the fusion will never lose to either side of the fusion. So the diver after the fusion also has the 7th level advanced attributes that do not belong to Lao Bi. It seems that the ability of 1 add 1 2 is much more effective in the game than in reality. It is really a pleasant surprise. In the test mission, Garland's projection was shocked. It was not because of how powerful the diver and Old B were, but because the shape was really weird. The core is a 4-armed Naga, covered with a metal exoskeleton armor transformed by Old B, the alien King Kong. In addition to the armor, he also wore a Sea Dragon general scale coat. The style of this outfit is simply a mess. It is conceivable how weird this image is. Even a projection without much independent consciousness was shocked. However, this level of improvement is still not enough for the diver to defeat Garland. It can only be able to fight back and forth while keeping Old B alive, and the scene looks much better. This battle lasted from 6 p.m. on the 28th to 6 a.m. on the 29th, a full 12 hours before it was declared over. In fact, after 7 or 8 hours, Garland's projection could no longer maintain a strong attack, and the microcosm was still limited. But Xiaoming couldn't kill him either, so he dragged it out for 12 hours. The reward was not a surprise. The most gratifying thing was that Lao Bi got the 2 ultimate moves Galaxy Starburst and Phantom Demon King Fist, and Xiaoming also exchanged the Golden Triangle Dimension for him. These 3 big moves are the powerful abilities that the Gemini twins can dominate. In the past, I could only drool at them. Because they were exchanged for the alien King Kong, the diver himself couldn't use them. And the alien King Kong didn't have enough microcosm, so he couldn't use them at all. Isn't it just watching? Now it's good. Being able to merge means that Xiaoming can also perform this move many times in the game. Practice makes perfect, and in the end I will definitely learn it. Just based on Garland's test mission, it is the only mission among many God Warriors and Sea Warriors that bullies Xiaoming to death. Finally, Xiaoming was forced to practice another Nin ability to barely pass the test, and we know how powerful he is. Xiaoming must practice these 3 big moves diligently. Speaking of powerful, the most powerful one is actually the trick Heavenly Dance Wheel from the first female Shaka exchanged by the researcher. It is much more powerful than Kanan's 3 axes. But that trick is really beyond the scope. Xiaoming tried it many times and couldn't comprehend it for a long time. There is no hope at all in the short term. Therefore, Xiaoming plans to settle for the second best and first learn the tricks of Kanan and several masters among the other God Warriors, Sea Warriors, and Hades Warriors. Use it first. Heavenly Dance Wheel, you can take your time. Xiaoming believes that if he gives himself 10 or 8 years, he will still be able to learn it. I don't know where he got this confidence from. Shaka is the reincarnation of Buddha, and his tricks are particularly valued for understanding. With Xiaoming's understanding, it is very likely that he will never learn it. Although no one came to pour cold water on him directly, Xiao Ming's intuition of the Force blessing was very accurate. He also had a vague feeling. In the future, there is a high probability that he will not fight against the Tianwu Bailun. He still agrees with the principle of nothing is difficult in the world as long as you are willing to give up. In addition, there was another unexpected thing. That is, the diver's personal interface suddenly had an additional task test of the Sea Prince General. Pa! Pa! The diver clapped his hands, and two crisp sounds were heard. The reason is simple. The diver is a four-armed Naga, so naturally there is one more clapping sound. At the beginning, neither the explorer nor the researcher could accept the test task because the game character's own strength was not enough. The system does not look at how strong the player behind the character is, it only looks at the character's own attributes and rank. Two third-level guys are not qualified to accept the test of the 8th-level masters Mi Yaimei and Chrysula. What level do you have to reach to accept the task? Xiao Ming can't say for sure. Anyway, the 4th-level researcher didn't receive the task, which means he is still far from it. After the diver merged with Old B, the system re-evaluated the strength and recognized that the diver had the combat power of 7th level at this time. So the test task was released to the diver. Xiao Ming almost activated the task directly on impulse. Suddenly he realized that he couldn't be impatient. If he defeated Chrysula in this form, then Old B, who was in the merged state with him, would take half of the reward. The character of diver doesn't have much microcosm to begin with, so it's more cost-effective to earn more rewards. Xiao Ming took the task first, but did not activate it. Instead, he cancelled the fusion state with Lao Bi. After a closer look, the task did not disappear. Now I feel relieved. The system did not take the task back, which was very respectful. Then the next question is whether I can defeat the projection of Sea Prince Chrysura with diver. If I can't beat him, it will be meaningless if I waste time. How can I say Chrysura's strength? He is inferior to Garland and Surant, but he is not an ordinary gold saint. He is about the level of quasi-level 8, A and or S-. In reality, Xiao Ming can definitely beat him to a pulp. In the game, it's probably okay. After all, knowing yourself and the enemy will ensure victory in 100 battles. Xiao Ming knows Chrysura's ability inside and out. First of all, he has a divine weapon golden gun that can pierce all evil, and a special move Great Light. Using powerful natural energy to emit strong beams of light, it causes great damage to the body and spirit of the enemy engulfed by the strong light. The victim will lose vision and perception, and then gradually die. Although these two attack methods are strong, they are only at the level of quasi-S level, and cannot break Xiao Ming's heavy defense. As for another defensive trick 7 chakras, Xiao Ming has already exchanged it and knows its weakness. It can be broken with one blow. For this test mission, the diver can do it by himself, and does not need to merge with others to share the reward. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1662. Congratulations to the player diver, who passed the test mission of the Sea Prince General with excellent results, and his microcosm limit increased by 8,000, and he obtained 4 cornerstones of the Temple of Poseidon. He obtained the exclusive artifact Golden Spear and comprehended the microcosm skill Great Light. The system's announcement confirmed that the diver had obtained the largest mission reward. Because this time, he really defeated a quasi-level 8 Master Chrysura, and without the help of anyone, he won all the rewards alone. Xiao Ming was very happy to get the Golden Spear. The Golden Spear is a special artifact. It has no rank itself, and unlike the scale clothing, it does not have any attribute bonus. It only has 2 characteristics. 1. The Golden Spear is the exclusive weapon given to the Sea Prince General diver by the Sea Emperor Poseidon. It cannot be disarmed, robbed, or stolen by the enemy. Even if it falls, others cannot pick it up or move it, and only the diver can pick it up. 2. When the diver uses the golden gun to attack, Each attack will emit the strongest attack power of the rank itself, and the armor of lower and equal rank is ineffective against the golden gun, and there is a certain probability that it will be destroyed by the golden gun. Just these two characteristics can support a divine weapon. In the Magic Planet game, the damage of each attack of the player has a fluctuation range, and various changes occur according to the actual combat situation. It is rare to reach the maximum value. But after the diver has the golden gun, every attack will be the maximum damage as long as it hits. Moreover, the characteristic of ignoring the defense of the armor is also very terrible. After the rank is high, an important source of the player's defense is armor such as armor and shields. If it is done completely according to the original work, the golden gun can directly break the armor. It's too much, so the system has made a slight adjustment to this. It has a certain probability of destroying armor of lower and equal rank. This is to leave a way out for other players. Otherwise, those hard-won armor will be easily destroyed by the diver's golden gun, and it will be broken with one poke, which no one can bear. So the system gave other players a chance. When they were fighting against the diver, it was usually not a big deal at the beginning, and the equipment on the whole body had a high probability of surviving. However, as the battle time got longer, the more attacks the armor suffered, and the greater the chance of being destroyed instantly. If you can't bear to see the armor damaged, then run away quickly. Of course, there is another way. Anyway, armor is ineffective against the golden gun. Players can take off all the armor on the whole body so that the golden gun has nothing to destroy. But doing so is very risky. After all, the enemy may not be just the diver. Taking off the armor will make other people's attacks more effective. In addition, even the diver is not only good at stabbing with the golden gun, he has many other skills. If the enemy has no armor, you can beat him with anything, which is more fun. Unfortunately, the current diver is only level 3, and the mainstream players have reached level 4, and the golden gun does not seem to have a deterrent effect. Xiaoming thought again, it doesn't matter. Basically, he rarely interacts with players. Even if there is a conflict, the 4th level players can't stop their thunderbolt attack. For example, didn't the king of Lanja and his men get killed by him? How could they use the golden gun to deter him? In the past 2 days, not only did the king of Lanja and the 3 brothers Lu, Guan, and Zhang not appear again. Not even a spy from an ordinary player was sent, as if they had given up. I don't know what they think. In fact, the king of Lanja felt the ability of the diver and hurried back to investigate. Although it was not clear who the diver belonged to, 2 characters with similar names were quickly found, Explorer and Researcher. The player behind them was called Zhang Xiaoming. This immediately alarmed the senior officials of the New Han Kingdom. They carefully questioned Lu Ziyu and found out the whole story. Based on the similarity of the name alone, the New Han Kingdom royal family could not actually confirm that the diver was Zhang Xiaoming's game character. But it was scary enough. The royal family did not dare to take risks and immediately ordered Lu Ziyu to completely abandon the strategy of the underwater temple and resolutely not to provoke the diver. That's why Xiaoming can't see any players. Otherwise, even if he is afraid of him, it is normal for Lu Ziyu to send 1 or 2 players to collect intelligence. You can't kill them all, right? Xiaoming didn't think much about it. It's better to have no players, so that they won't be jealous. Because the system's rewards are not over yet. Once the test mission of the Sea Prince General is over, the test missions of the 7 Sea Generals are all passed. Because all 7 Sea Generals are the diver and his subordinates. The system assumes that the diver has completed a hidden mission. Or it should be said that a hidden achievement all 7 Sea Generals has been achieved. The reason why the explorer did not receive a similar reward is that he has not passed the test mission of Yao Guang Star. The conditions are not met. Probably because the difficulty is too high, Poseidon gave a wave of small universe gifts. The diver gets 30,000 points of small universe, and the other 6 sea generals get 10,000 points each. Xiao Ming is so happy now. You know, he has done so many tasks, including the test mission of the Sea Prince, to accumulate the diver's small universe to a little over 20,000. With this reward, it was pushed directly to 50,000. Coupled with the blessing of the golden gun and the Sea Prince's scales, the combat power of the diver has reached a very remarkable level. Even if Xiao Sier is in charge, he has a solid 6th level combat power, very close to 7th level. In the future, when I am not here, I can be more assured about them. This is not over yet. The system has issued the third ring of the task chain, the rebirth of Poseidon, the Sea King, the red legendary task, the glory of the 7 generals of the sea. This procedure has been done once by the Nordic Fairy Palace, and Xiao Ming is not surprised. There is no difference in the task requirements. 1 divers are required to build temples for the 7 sea generals. Xiao Ming has already done this. He even built 1 more for the alien queen Xiao He. 2 each temple has at least 100 believers. In fact, this task is about to be completed. You know, a large number of sea believers have poured into the underwater temple. Before, they all belonged to the Sea Prince Temple of the Divers. 2 days ago, Xiao Ming built other sea general palaces, and many sea believers applied to other temples/palaces to be believers according to their preferences. Such reasonable requests are generally not rejected by managers. What's more, Xiao Ming was looking forward to them going to other temples, so he approved them all. It is estimated that in a few days, the second task will be completely completed. The only thing missing is the third requirement, that each temple has at least 3 sea warriors. This requirement is not easy to do. Because the soldiers with small universes are generally more loyal to the generals of the Sea Prince, and are not willing to change temples. You can't force it, right? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1663. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, oh, it's really troublesome. Come here, Xiao He. I'll help you with the task first. Xiao Ming thought that it was not easy to gather all the sea warriors for so many palaces, so he was not in a hurry. Anyway, after he had the fusion skill, he felt that there were many things he could do. For example, in the Nordic Fairy Palace, he could do the test task of Yeo Guangstar. In the Greek Sanctuary, he could also try the test task of the First Maiden Palace. The task of Yeo Guangstar was relatively simple. Although Miyaime, who was in charge of the test, was very strong, she was roughly the same as Surant. She was more inclined to mental attacks and was not difficult to deal with. The trouble was the First Maiden. The one in charge of testing the researcher would be the famous First Maiden Gold Saint, the man closest to God, Shaka. This guy was too powerful. He was the top one among the 8th level. Xiao Ming even suspected that he could be higher. Even if he combined with the strongest mind beast, his strength was only at the 7th level. Facing Shaka, there was almost no possibility of winning. Even lasting for 2 hours was a luxury. Fortunately, there was no limit on the number of times this kind of test task could be completed, and the task reward would not be reduced if it failed. It didn't matter how many times he tried. Just like the test task of General Heilong, Xiao Ming failed 8 times in a row with Lao Bi, but he still got the reward normally. It seems that the system knows how powerful these masters are and does not make it too difficult for the players. The diver was thinking about the Nordic Asgard and the Greek Sanctuary in his mind, and he took Xiao He with him in a daze and activated the mermaid's test task. The strength of Tethys was roughly equivalent to that of an ordinary silver saint. It was too easy to beat her. Therefore, the reward after completing the task was also very watery. The diver and Xiaohe each increased their small universe by 800 points. There was not a single cornerstone of the temple, but Xiaohe learned a trick of Death Coral Reef, which didn't seem to be very good. The diver now has 50,000 small universes as a base, and actually doesn't plan to share such a small reward with Xiaohe. He originally wanted to let her fight on her own. However, Xiaohe's strength is similar to that of the Thys, and she doesn't often participate in battles. If she really fights, she can't beat the Thys at all. Xiaoming had to intervene to help. However, Xiaohe also gave Xiaoming an inspiration. He thought of the third-level summoning magic cube, where he still had a lot of subordinates. Among them is a 5th-level 40-level military alien queen, who also bred more than a dozen 4th-level alien warriors. They seem to be very suitable to be sea warriors. First of all, aliens can fight easily and freely on the ground and underwater, without breathing problems, which is an advantage. Secondly, these aliens live in the summoning magic cube, and they are Xiaoming's subordinates certified by the system, and they will absolutely obey orders. They will not kill indiscriminately. Finally, Xiaoming can easily give them the seeds of small universes, so that with their combat power, they are fully capable of fulfilling the duties of sea warriors. According to Xiaoming's understanding over the past few days, I have roughly understood the settings of various fighters who use the microcosm in the game. This is definitely very different from the original work. Let's take the Saint Seiya as an example. Because they are the main body of the original work, the game creation team naturally divides the levels and titles based on the Saint Seiya. For NPCs, their status levels in the Saint Seiya are divided according to the upper limit of their respective microcosms. If the microcosm exceeds 1000, it is a bronze saint; if it exceeds 10,000, it is a silver saint; if it exceeds 100,000, it is a gold saint. It is not clear what goes above. But this method is not suitable for players and soldiers who are fully controlled by players. Because it is generally difficult for players to improve the character's microcosm to that level. Just like Xiaoming, although he has a microcosm that is so huge that it makes the gold saints ashamed, he cannot let the game character have such a high microcosm attribute. He can only rely on a large number of related tasks to accumulate the upper limit of the character's microcosm. It seems that if you work hard to practice at ordinary times, it will be okay, but the speed of doing so will be very slow, which is not suitable for the fast pace in the game. Xiaoming has piled up a lot of small universes for some game characters, but this undoubtedly robbed other players of the same god system. It is difficult to improve other people's small universes. Therefore, for players and their arms, the upper limit of small universes cannot be used to divide them, which is too difficult for players. They can only be classified according to their ranks. The first step is that as long as players and arms have small universes and are recognized as believers by the goddess Athena, they are automatically considered as saints. However, they are all apprentices. Next, when the apprentice saints reach the level of level 3, the system will recognize them as miscellaneous soldier saints. It's just that the sanctuary is relatively poor, and there are no standard miscellaneous soldier saint clothes for them. They need to provide their own armor. If the miscellaneous soldiers practice and upgrade to level 4, they will be considered ordinary saints, and the system will issue standard saint clothes. But Xiaoming also saw that thing, which is very shabby, and its attributes are even worse than the blank equipment of the same level. Poor is just one word. The goddess is so envious of Poseidon and Hades. Everything is different when you have money. The scales of ordinary sea warriors are quite good, while the attributes of the Hades warriors are very good. Athena is relatively poor, so she can only command the alchemists to forge 88 holy clothes with materials such as mountain copper, silver star sand, and Gamanian, corresponding to the 88 constellations in the night sky. Among them, there are 12 gold holy clothes, 24 silver holy clothes, and 48 bronze holy clothes. 48 add 24 add 12 equal 84, there are still 4 pieces missing. What exactly are these 4 holy clothes? Even Xiaoming, the former Shadow Pope, does not know. Perhaps it is the most powerful trick of the goddess Athena? In fact, as long as we use the elimination method, we can find out what constellations the other 4 pieces are by subtracting the 84 known holy clothes from the 88 constellations. However, the original book does not give a clear explanation, so I will not go into details. When ordinary saints practice to 5th level C, they become bronze saints. At this time, the player and the small universe of the soldiers can slowly recover over time. That is, they have endurance. But only those who have obtained the bronze holy clothes can be regarded as real bronze saints. The others are regarded as the ragtag army among the bronze saints. Similarly, after being promoted to the 6th level, they become silver saints. After being promoted to the 7th level, they become the gold saints at the top of the saints. Among them, only those who have obtained the corresponding holy clothes can face the world with their heads held high. Those without holy clothes are still ragtag even if they have reached the level. Moreover, the attributes of the saint cloth in the game are indeed good. It can be generally believed that the saint Seiya with the saint cloth is stronger than the inferior saint Seiya, even if they are of the same rank. Others such as God saints, sea saints, Hades saints are different in number and classification from Saint Seiya. But in the end, they are still sorted out according to this context. However, all the genuine God cloth, Scale cloth, and Hades cloth of these 3 companies have fallen into Xiaoming's hands, and other players can only have the opportunity to be inferior brands. It's pitiful. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1664. It has to be said that the sea people have a strong ability to accept. Seeing several hideous aliens floating and diving on the palaces of various sea generals and patrolling in all directions, the sea people neither felt strange nor scared. Even some young sea people would follow the aliens everywhere, and they were really brave. There are 3 reasons. First, although the aliens look ugly and scary, that is for humans. There are too many sea people who look stranger and scarier than the aliens when they come to the bottom of the sea. The appearance of the aliens is actually considered to be able to fight in the sea. Second, these aliens are all wearing scale clothes. Most of them are scale clothes of miscellaneous soldiers, and a few are scale clothes of regular sea warriors. The sea people near the underwater temple are all believers of Poseidon. They know that those wearing scale clothes are sea warriors, and sea warriors are believers of Poseidon, so they are naturally not afraid. Third, these aliens also have some characteristics of sea people in terms of body shape. For example, some aliens' hind legs have become fish tails, some aliens have webbed feet, some aliens have tentacles. This is caused by different parasitic hosts. Because Xiaoming feels that in his summoning cube, although the 5th level alien queen and the 4th level alien warriors can move and fight freely in the sea, they seem to be more suitable for the Nordic fairy palace on the ground. There are a lot of prey in the sea anyway, so it would be better to let the alien queen breed a new batch of alien warriors with sea tribes as hosts. Do it as you think of it. It didn't take much time for Xiaoming to get more than 40 sea tribe alien warriors and open up a small universe for them to become sea warriors. The cube contains 4th level alien warriors because these warriors come from the secret realm of Hunter x Hunter. The hosts Xiaoming chose are all strong soldiers among the Chimera ants. Because of good nutrition, they all reached 4th level. And this time in the underwater temple, the queen is giving birth in large numbers. No excellent hosts were deliberately selected, so many 3rd level aliens appeared. Even ordinary aliens have level 3, which meets the conditions of becoming a sea warrior. Each of the palaces of the 7 generals under the sea is filled with 5 alien warriors, and Xiao Hei's mermaid palace is also assigned 3 to support the scene. Now the task is basically completed, and we just need to wait for the sea believers to pile up the number of believers in each palace to 100. The third ring of the task is also completed. Taking this opportunity, the diver and Lao B merged, and while mastering Garland's 3 tricks: Galaxy Star Explosion, Illusion Demon Emperor Fist and Golden Triangle Dimension, they waited for the task to be automatically completed. As a result, I played for a long time but couldn't wait for the news. During this period, the diver had subdued several miscellaneous sea warriors and many believers with ulterior motives with the Illusion Demon Emperor Fist. Although these guys have ulterior motives, they are not targeting Poseidon, the Sea Emperor, but the diver and several other aliens. After all, there are many sea people, and there are only a few people including the diver and the aliens. But just a few guys actually occupied all the high positions in the undersea temple. Of course, other sea creatures would be envious and jealous. For some ambitious sea believers, divers and aliens are obstacles, and they must be eliminated as soon as possible. After all, they also want to become the spokesperson of the Sea King in the world. Xiao Ming was alert because of the incident of King Lanja just 2 days ago. So he would scan the believers of the undersea temple from time to time to avoid players who were hostile to him from sneaking in. As a result, hostile players were not found, but many hostile NPCs were found. It is true that there are all kinds of birds in a big forest. When there are many people, there are more right and wrong. This principle still applies to the seabed. It is not surprising that among the thousands of sea believers, there are some guys with ulterior motives. Xiao Ming is too lazy to pay attention to those who are simply ambitious. After all, ambition is a good thing. It can promote their strength and increase the power of the undersea temple, and then increase their own power in disguise. But some sea creatures do not intend to compete fairly. They have already planned to use conspiracy and tricks to frame the divers and others. These guys can't be tolerated. Xiao Ming just used them to practice the illusionary Demon King Fist. They were temporarily hypnotized and turned into his puppets. Since there were no tasks for them for the time being, Xiao Ming simply used them repeatedly to practice. As a result of many hits, many sea creatures were completely brainwashed and became loyal subordinates of the divers. And Xiao Ming himself also learned this fist. Very lucky. Unfortunately, on the other hand, he was not so lucky. He waited for a long time but failed to complete the task. This made Xiao Ming feel a little incredible. These days, sea believers are still pouring into the underwater temple, and the number is about to exceed 10,000. There are palaces that don't even have 100 believers. Isn't this a bit unreasonable? Xiao Ming opened the data given by the game system to check which palace didn't have enough believers. It turned out that most palaces already have 4-digit believers. Relatively speaking, only the Sea Fantasy Beast Palace in the Southern Ocean and the Manta Palace in the Arctic Ocean have fewer believers. Because these two oceans are frozen all year round, the number of sea creatures is far less than that of other oceans, and the number of believers is naturally much less. The Southern Ocean is a little better, with 113 believers there, which meets the requirement. But the Arctic Ocean has only 88 believers, and this is the result of the 5 aliens. Why are there fewer believers coming from the Arctic Ocean? The reason is that the great god Odin has resurrected and the Nordic Asgard has also descended to the world. The time is a little earlier than the underwater temple. In Northern Europe, some sea tribes also believe in Odin, and some even believe in both Odin and Poseidon. This has caused a diversion in faith. Some potential sea tribe believers have felt the small universe of Odin first, and they are on their way to the Nordic Fairy Palace. Some people may ask, isn't the Nordic Fairy Palace deep in the Scandinavian mountains? How can sea tribe believers get there? Don't forget that there is a huge lake in the Nordic Fairy Palace, and the bottom of this lake is actually connected to the Arctic Ocean. So Odin will always have a small number of sea tribe believers. This is also the case in the Greek sanctuary. In the Mediterranean, especially in the Aegean Sea, Many sea tribes believe in Athena and Poseidon at the same time, or even only believe in Athena. This is called the county magistrate is not as good as the current one. In fact, Hades, the god of the underworld, has a greater influence. Regardless of geographical factors, there are believers all over the world, both on land and under the sea. It's just that most of the guys who believe in Hades can't go to the underworld for pilgrimage, unless they die one day. In other words, Xiao Ming must bear this responsibility himself. After all, it was his own character explorer who resurrected Odin. It's hard to describe the feeling of having screwed himself. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1665. But this is not a big deal. Isn't it just that the Devil's Fish Palace is still short of 12 believers? How difficult is this? The diver had just used the Phantom Demon Emperor Fist to control a group of sea puppets and transferred them to the Manta Fish Palace, and everything was settled. The system prompts the player that the third ring red legendary mission The Glory of the Seven Generals of the Sea is completed. The results are excellent. The diver received 20,000 microcosms, and the other 6 sea generals received 7,000 microcosms. At the same time, divers receive 14 cornerstones of the Temple of Poseidon, King of the Sea. It's no wonder that this task only took half a day from receipt to completion. Can the result be bad? The reason for getting these rewards is because the reward limit for this task is only so much. It would be great if it was the kind of mission that has no upper limit on rewards, so you can earn more. But the system will not easily arrange tasks that do not have a reward upper limit. Prevent players from using crooked ways to gain rewards. In any case, this small universe's income is really great. The diver's small universe reached 71,000. He is about to reach the standard of a golden saint. If the 7 naval generals belong to different players, then each player's mission is only orange epic level, and the small universe reward received is not even 1/7 of this reward. That's blood loss. Because these rewards actually come from Poseidon, the king of the sea. It is equivalent to God distributing his huge small universe to his loyal subordinates. Even though Poseidon has just been resurrected, the amount of the small universe is theoretically very small. But he is the main god of Olympus after all, and even his half-dead little universe is incomparable to even the golden saints. It's nothing to separate out this little. Neptune even hopes that someone will get this reward and get more small universes from himself. This means that there are powerful warriors among his followers. Of course the boss is happy. There may be a war with other gods in the future, and having powerful sea warriors under his command is also a guarantee of victory in the war. Therefore, the 4th ring mission of the diver is still a red legendary mission with the same name, Glory of the Seven Generals of the Sea 2. The mission requirements are as follows: 1 temple upgrade, all 7 generals' palaces will be upgraded to intermediate temples. 2 spread the branches, each naval general must find a location to build 3 primary Poseidon temples of his own, at least one of which must be built outside the underwater temple. 3 recruit believers. The number of believers in each navy palace must reach 1,000, and each branch temple must have at least 100 believers. 4 recruit sea warriors. Each palace has at least 3 regular sea warriors and 10 miscellaneous sea warriors. There is no limit to branch temples. Although the missions in the 4th ring are also at the legendary level, their difficulty is obviously much higher than that in the 3rd ring. Because they are the same tasks. If the player completes the 3rd ring mission normally, then he has accumulated a large number of believers and sea warriors. It is not difficult to further develop on this basis and meet the requirements. It's just that the diver did not perform the task normally, but pushed forward forcefully and completed the 3rd ring task. It lacks a mass base and is a bit difficult to handle. Of these requirements, the first has actually been achieved. Because when Xiao Ming built the Palace of General 7, he directly built an intermediate temple. The second one is not difficult, Just find a few places to build branch temples. Even the fourth item is not difficult. It just requires the alien queen to work harder and reproduce more offspring. I believe she still wants it. Only the third one is too difficult. The difficulty remains the Arctic and Southern Oceans. In the oceans controlled by several other naval generals, the population of the sea tribe is very prosperous, and it is easy to gather the number of believers. But what about the Arctic and Southern Oceans? Even 100 believers are so difficult to gather. Now they need to get at least 1,300 followers. Isn't this a scam? Fortunately, the diver has the unique skill Phantom Demon King Fist. When there are too many believers in other palaces and Wang in the future, just control some of them and transfer to Liang Binjiang's palace. However, this is definitely not something that can be accomplished in the short term. It is best to wait for a while to allow the number of believers in the underwater temple to expand. Use your strength at that time and get twice the result with half the effort. If you want to have many believers, the most important thing is that there must be enough temples. Especially building a temple outside the underwater temple can attract more believers of the sea tribe or believers of other races. So you can do some branching and spreading things first. Xiaoming built 2 primary temples for sea warriors next to each sea general's palace to relieve the pressure on the palace. After all the believers crowded into the palace to pray, and Xiaoming himself felt very noisy. General Hai's palace should be a relatively sacred place and cannot tolerate such a mess. Let's all rush to the primary temple. There are also 7 temples of Poseidon that need to be built on the adventure map or strategic map. The diver went to the strategic map first, because Xiaoming's power on the strategic map was relatively strong. And you don't need to build the temple only on the diver's site, it can also be built on the sites of several other characters. Of course, it should be noted that the temple of the Poseidon is best built on an island or in a coastal area. In addition, it is estimated that Athena and Odin will also ask believers to build temples in the future, and try to avoid conflicts in the early stage. The underwater temple is currently developing well and the situation is good. Xiaoming feels that it seems unnecessary to bring in the Naga tribe so early. Don't build the Poseidon temple in Greystone Town for now. Don't rush to change the job of the sea tribe subordinates. Let's see the situation first. So, taking various considerations into consideration, Xiaoming built 7 primary Poseidon temples in the following places. They are managed by the puppet sea tribe that has been controlled by the diver. 1-3, the island cities controlled by Han Dong under the explorer, Xiaoyang Village, Xiaoliao Village, Xiaoxiang Village. 4, the island city of Diaokan, the base camp of the Li family pirates under the command of Li Huamei, the eldest sister of the researcher. 5, the port city at the junction of East Asia and Southeast Asia under the command of the diver, Manila. 6, the port city at the junction of Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean under the command of the diver, Amman. 7, the island city in the funnel lake of the main island of Japan under the command of the deceased, Jigishan. Although there are many indigenous Indian villages in North America that have joined the researchers and the dead. But in order to avoid the powerful maritime forces of Western colonists, these villages are far away from the coastal areas. It is not suitable to build the Temple of Poseidon. In the future, we can consider building the Temple of Odin or Athena there. We will see the situation at that time. 21 primary temples consume 21 cornerstones of the Poseidon Temple of the Dead. Now there are still about 20 left, so there is no need to worry about running out. After all, they will not be used in the short term. Over time, the 7 sea generals can bring 7 temple cornerstones to the divers every month. As long as Xiaoming does not waste time, it is basically enough. Now the divers just have to wait for the believers to continue to increase. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1666. These 7 places where the Poseidon Temple was built are located in Bohai Sea, East China Sea, South China Sea, Southeast Asia, and Indian Ocean. If other players were to run through it normally, it would take several months, and if they were fast, it would take 1.5 months, not counting the time spent on building the temple. This way, the task score would definitely not be good. If you want to be fast, then the locations should not be so scattered, and they should all be concentrated in the same area, which will definitely be much faster. However, if the division is not wide, it will also affect the evaluation of the task and even the task reward. In fact, Xiaoming did not do it perfectly. 3 of the locations, Xiaoyang Village, Xiaoliu Village, and Xiaoxiang Village, are not far from each other. However, he had already piled up the task rewards to the highest level, and even if there were some improvements, he could not go any further. The main thing is that the time is fast enough. The diver actually got it done in a few hours. It is amazing to have the ability to teleport everywhere. After this busy circle, it was also after 7 o'clock in the evening. Xiaoming suddenly remembered that there was another difficult task to do. That was the test task of the Norse fairy palace Yeoguang Star. At present, the explorer is not even at level 4, so the system does not allow him to accept the test mission of Mi Yaimei, the level 8 Yeoguang Star God Warrior. Now that he has the ability of 1+1+2, he can finally break through the limit. The secret realm of this test mission is likely to take a long time. It just so happens that it is about to be 8 p.m., and the main game is about to be suspended. The time for the mission can be consumed after the game is suspended, which is more efficient. So Xiaoming hurriedly switched roles and returned to the explorer. Just as he was about to open the portal to Northern Europe, he was stopped by his master, Mr. Guo. He, explorer, my beloved disciple, come and chat with the master. Huh? Master, it's so late. Yes, I obey your order. Xiaoming couldn't help but feel a little strange. He was not surprised that Mr. Guo came to chat with him, but why it was now? At this time, the time in the game was very late, and the night was falling. If Mr. Guo had something to talk to him, he should have talked to him earlier. At that time, the intelligent program Xiao would deal with him. The system chose to talk when he was online, which means that the intelligent program cannot make the decision on this matter. The player must decide it himself. That's a big deal. Sure enough, Mr. Guo didn't need to beat around the bush with his beloved disciple. After a few pleasantries, he asked about the business. Disciple, how does the Western god Odin treat you? I'm asking about the portal. How long can it be opened at a time? What are the restrictions on the number of people and items passing through? How many times can the portal be opened every day? No wonder the system asked Mr. Guo to ask me at this time. Xiao couldn't answer such a question at all. Because Odin didn't give the explorer the right to open the portal, this is Xiaoming's own ability. Xiao didn't know much either. Since Mr. Guo came to ask about the details, it means that the monks are still very interested in this cooperation. Compared with Liang Shan, the relationship between the monks and the explorers is closer, and the trust between them is higher. So they are more willing to take risks. Reporting to the master, if it is a large-scale transportation of personnel and materials, my portal may take 2-3 days to open once. However, at a critical moment, it is also possible to open it once in an emergency. If there are few people, it can be opened 1-2 times a day. Xiaoming did not dare to tell the truth. The real situation is that he can open the portal anytime and anywhere, and it can be maintained for several days and nights, or even weeks. But this is not the authority that a believer may have. No one will believe it if he says it. He can only be modest and make it up. What's more, he can't always operate the explorer, so it is wiser to leave some gaps. Oh, that's it. Master Guo nodded and praised, it seems that the god has a good eye. My apprentice deserves such treatment from him. Very good, very good. Can you open the portal now? Master wants to go to that fairy palace to see it with his own eyes. It turned out that just asking questions was not enough, and Mr. Guo also wanted to conduct an on-site inspection. This request was exactly what the explorer wanted, and he quickly nodded and agreed, opening the portal. In order to make other NPCs safer and more convenient, Xiaoming used the magic skills of camouflage to make a golden halo around the portal. Everyone can pay attention when passing through, so as not to split the edge of the portal. Mr. Guo planned to investigate on the spot by himself, and did not think of taking others there. However, a figure quickly appeared in front of the two. Looking closely, it turned out to be Gongsun Sheng, another master of the explorer. His frontal combat power may be average, but his various Taoist methods are quite strong. He has been practicing in his room, but he can't hide the big and small things around him. He sensed that Guo Jinsong was chatting with the explorer before, and naturally did not eavesdrop out of politeness. But seeing that the explorer opened the portal, it was clear that he was going to take Guo Jinsong to the Nordic Fairy Palace. How could he be left behind in this matter? Although there was no news from Liangshan, it would be okay for Gongsun Sheng to go to the Fairy Palace to investigate in person. It was just a good opportunity to catch a ride. So he rushed here as fast as possible. Oh, Taoist Gongsun is so free, he came out for a walk in the middle of the night, to see the moonlight, Mr. Guo asked knowingly, and even looked up at the little crescent. It's the same for you. Isn't Mr. Guo going to go somewhere far away in the middle of the night? I'm here to join in the fun, Gongsun Sheng said calmly. Then let's go together, ha ha ha. The two old guys reached an agreement in an instant. Xiaoming didn't bother to complain, made a please gesture, and took the lead to pass through the portal. This is not considered impolite, after all, the portal connects two different places, and there may be danger on the other side. The explorer opened the portal himself and went there first, which can be regarded as testing the water for everyone. Of course, there are not so many rules between the master and the apprentice. Xiaoming crossed the portal first, more because he didn't want the two masters to waste time. He still wanted to activate the test task before 8 o'clock. If the two of them chatted, it would delay his own time. Seeing that his apprentice was anxious, Guo Jinsong and Gongsun Sheng smiled at each other, made a please gesture to each other, and walked through the portal side by side to the backyard of the Yao Guang Star Temple. There was no need for the apprentice to be a guide. The two waved to the explorer and said in unison, "Master, I will go for a walk first," and then they all floated away. Xiaoming was stunned for a moment, and immediately understood that they wanted to get first-hand information in person. It would be inconvenient for the explorer to go with him. Very good, I am very busy. Xiaoming quickly summoned the mind beast Laoe, merged with it, and accepted the test mission of Yao Guang Star. However, he cancelled the fusion and activated the mission himself to meet Mi Yaimei. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1667. The strength of the shaking light star Genmi Yumi Kotomi firmly ranks among the top 3 among the divine warriors. The first one among them is undoubtedly the two-headed dragon Chek Fried of Tianxia Star. But in the second and third place, Mi Yaimei and Tianquan Star Auxiliary Star Saber-Toothed Tiger Badu, I really can't tell who is stronger. They are basically evenly matched. It can only be said that Badu prefers physical attacks, while Mayim prefers to use the sound of the piano to launch mental attacks. This is the type that Xiaoming is better at dealing with. But when the fight started, Xiaoming discovered that Mi Yaimei was not that easy to deal with. Because when Mi Yaimei's projection in the secret realm of testing discovered that spiritual attacks were useless to the explorer, He immediately changed his fighting methods, all to physical attacks. Xiaoming must be cautious in parrying. Of course, what Xiaoming is most afraid of is Galleon's attack with spatial attributes. He can still completely defend against pure physical attacks. His own heavy defenses were able to prevent even the ultimate moves that destroyed the more powerful Check Fried and Badu, so Ma Yim's attacks were naturally not a problem. Seeing that his defense was more than enough, Xiaoming allocated part of his energy to attack. All kinds of attacks were used on him. However, the S-level master was protected by the god's battle clothes, so Xiaoming's regular attack methods were useless against him. There are only a few moves such as the Fantasy Demon Emperor's Fist that can be effective. Unfortunately, Miyame is too fast. Threatening moves cannot hit him at all, and those that do hit cannot hurt him. The battle was at a standstill. Xiaoming was able to defeat General High Prince because Krakola was not good at evasion, but good at defense. But defense always consumes the small universe. Xiaoming can use his small universe to be dozens or even hundreds of times larger than that of his opponent, and he can forcefully consume all his small universe. Moreover, Xiaoming knew the weakness of the 7 chakras to defeat him. Now this Miyame is good at dodging, and her powerful attacks can hardly hit others. What should we do? Xiaoming found that it didn't work, so he decided to keep working. After 12 hours, the task would be passed. If you're lucky, you might be able to exhaust Miyame's small universe within 12 hours, and then defeat it. The rewards should be pretty good too. At this moment, he suddenly had a whim and thought of an ability that he had obtained a long time ago but had almost never been used, Amaterasu. This is the ability that comes with the Sharinan given to him by the Li family back then. Of course, at that time, the Li family did not expect Xiaoming to be able to use Amaterasu. Xiaoming has never encountered any powerful enemies, so he has never used Amaterasu. As time goes by, I gradually forget about it. Later, in the world of Big Sword, Xiaoming encountered a very terrifying enemy, a super abyss level demon. Especially Priscilla. However, at that time, his intuition did not remind Xiaoming to use Amaterasu. The reason is simple, inappropriate. Amaterasu is praised in the original work as the strongest physical attack and an attack that is absolutely impossible to escape. Only those who have opened the Mangekyo Sharinan can use it. Black flames are produced where the Mangekyo Sharingan sight is focused, which has extremely high heat and destructive power. Due to the heavy burden on the body, the eyes will bleed when used. The black flames will not burn out the target, and will not go out, and can burn everything. Without any external obstruction, Amaterasu's flames will burn the captured target to ashes before it is extinguished. Therefore, this technique was named after the Japanese sun god, Amaterasu. Even S-level masters can't compete. If a person who is struck by Amaterasu does not want to die, he must quickly discard the ignited body parts. As a normal person, once an important part is ignited by Amaterasu, it cannot be easily discarded. Because if you give it up, you are still dead. Such a powerful attack is of little use against the monsters in the world of swords. Because almost all demons are particularly good at regeneration, they have few body parts that cannot be discarded. In an emergency, it is okay to discard 99% of the body. So Amaterasu is really not suitable for fighting monsters. But it is very suitable for fighting fighters who use small universes to fight. No matter how powerful a fighter is, if an arm or a leg is burned by Amaterasu, his combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced. If it burns a more important part, it will just burp. Why didn't Xiaoming think of Amaterasu before, and why didn't his intuition remind him? That's because in previous battles, Xiaoming has never had a strong desire to win. When facing Check Fried and Badu, he thought he couldn't beat them, and all he wanted was to protect the alien and survive. Subconsciously, he never thought about defeating his opponent, so his intuition would certainly not prompt him. Later, because he developed the telekinesis ability 1-1/U003E2, which increased Xiao Ming's confidence. He suddenly had the desire to defeat the 8th level master. This is where intuition comes into play. Of course, Amaterasu is not invincible. There are many ways to fight against him in the original Naruto. For example, use the fire sealing method, react quickly and use other things to block the flames, use a substitute technique such as the golden cicada to escape, which is equivalent to abandoning part of the body. There are also Sharingan ability additional earth life, Izanagi, Samsara I ability Shinra Tensei, hungry ghost path sealing technique, etc., which can all cope with Amaterasu. Although Amaterasu is indestructible, its activation speed and spread speed are not fast enough, giving the master a certain amount of time to react. Of course, you must be a very strong master. There are ways to fight against Amaterasu in Saint Seiya. For example, people with telekinetic ability can block the flames out of thin air, people with spatial ability can also move the flames away. In addition, the freezing air of Aquarius Gold Saint Camus may be able to extinguish Amaterasu's flames. Absolute Zero is no joke. It is not known whether these tricks are useful. After all, no one has used Amaterasu against Saint Seiya before. If a real fight breaks out, encountering an unknown force and being caught off guard is the most likely scenario. Anyway, classmate Miyame of Yao Guangxing was hit. The explorer summoned the Sharingan and released the black flame of Amaterasu on Miyame's waist, where there was no protection from the god's clothing. Miyame was ignited before she could react. And then, there was no more. He barely held on for a while with his small universe, but was eventually burned to death by Amaterasu. Even the Yao Guangxing god's clothing on him was burned to ashes. Although Miyame in the secret realm is just a projection, the power and equipment she possesses should be real. Therefore, the god fighting cloth is probably unable to withstand the burning of Amaterasu. I wonder if other holy clothes, scale clothes, and Hades clothes can withstand it. Although Xiao Ming has each type, he is reluctant to take them out for experiments. Who can he ask to compensate if they are burned? Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1668. On November 30th, Xiao Ming happily logged into the Explorer and happily received the rewards for 2 tasks. The first was the completion of the test of the Light Star task. The Explorer killed Miyame and received a reward. The upper limit of the small universe was 8,000 points. Unfortunately, the 7 Odin sapphires had been distributed, and the Explorer really had no more. He could only get 4 cornerstones of the Odin temple, which was just a self-consolation. Miyame's 2 special moves, Hypnotic Requiem and Magic String Funeral Song, were obtained, and they did not need to spend the small universe to exchange, which was quite cost-effective. Xiao Ming actually planned to practice music a little bit, and try to play Huang Laoxie's Blue Sea Tide song with the small universe in the future. I don't know what the effect will be. Maybe it will become a big killer, or maybe it will be useless. It's hard to say, but it's worth a try. The second is the completion of the red legendary hidden task All 8 God Warriors. The reward is almost exactly the same as that of the diver. The upper limit of the Explorer's microcosm increased by 30,000 points to 55,000 points. The other 7 Alien King Kong God Warriors each increased their microcosm by 10,000 points. It was a surprise for the diver to get this generous reward for the first time. Now that the Explorer has received it again, Xiao Ming feels a little accustomed to it. Maybe in the future, the researcher will get it again in the Greek sanctuary, and then it will probably be calm. The next part is the difficult part. The third ring glory of the 7-star God Warrior mission is really too difficult to complete. The influence of the Nordic Fairy Palace is far less than that of the Undersea Temple. It is only limited to the Nordic area. But the mission requirements are exactly the same as others. Where can the Explorer find so many believers? In the past few days, the Nordic fairy palace is still calm. Except for the few Chinese people brought by Xiaoming for tourism, there are no more NPCs coming to join. As a result, Xiaoming has no intention of letting the aliens serve as god warriors. The number of believers is so much less, and it is useless to fill up the god warriors. However, after thinking it over, he felt that he should prepare early. While the monks and Liangshan heroes have not arrived yet, let the aliens put on the god-fighting clothes first, so that they will not be so scary in the future. So, the god-fighting quotas of the 8 temples were quickly filled by about 43-4 level aliens. Xiaoming also let the aliens interact more with the residents of the Rjul tribe and cooperate with each other. Play with children and accompany adults to hunt, so that the Viking orcs can accept the aliens first, and it will also make it easier for the monks and Liangshan heroes to adapt in the future. In addition, since these alien god fighters all come from the summoning magic cube, they can only come out and move freely when Xiaoming is online in person. Once Xiaoming himself goes offline, the intelligent program will not be able to bear the magic power to make these aliens move, and will automatically take them back into the magic cube. Because of the special status of the alien queen, Xiaoming did not let her join the undersea temple or the Nordic palace. He simply made her a quiet, beautiful, and fertility machine hidden behind the scenes. Up to this point, the development of the Nordic palace, the undersea temple, and the underworld has basically entered a bottleneck period. It takes time to ferment slowly, and there is no rush. Now most of the work can be handed over to the intelligent program. Xiaoming needs to focus on solving the big mess that the researcher encountered in the Greek sanctuary. Why is this a mess? Because it is really too chaotic. Since November 14, when the researcher resurrected the goddess Athena, a large number of Greeks have been pouring into the sanctuary. In addition to praying to the goddess at the temple of the first maiden, they also began to actively seek to become believers of the goddess and obtain the right to build the temple of Athena. These people don't want to be robbed of all the limelight by a human researcher from the East. As the old saying goes, are you a good match? As the news spread, countless forces began to gather in Athens, stirring up the situation. They put pressure on the drillers from different angles. Xiaoming felt a headache just by looking at it. It happened that the other gods were busy, so Xiaoming deliberately handed the driller to the intelligent program Xiao to manage it, and ran away to avoid these troubles. Faced with the intelligent program with limited power, the NPCs had many things they couldn't do, so they had to get stuck there and compete with each other, while also waiting for the players to come back to solve them. Of course, if Xiaoming never logs into the driller, the system will not wait forever. When the time comes, some compulsory measures will be taken, and such measures are often the most disadvantageous to the players. Who asked you to hide? However, it has only been half a month since the beginning, and it is far from the time when the NPCs need to take the final measures. The first thing Xiaoming has to face when he returns is such a mess. The number of people who registered as Athena believers in the temple of the first maiden palace is not much less than that of Poseidon Sea believers. There are currently more than 5,600 people, and they are still increasing. And the number of Saints Iya is far more than that. Among them, there are more than 100 apprentice saints of level 1-2, more than 300 saints of level 3, and more than 20 ordinary saints of level 4. There are even 5 bronze saints of level 5. Is this the rhythm of gathering the 5 bronze saints again? Fortunately, the silver saints of level 6 have not appeared yet. It must be said that Athens has a very good foundation in this regard. Even though the goddess Athena has fallen for a long time, every generation of Athenians still has not forgotten the goddess. Nonsense, the name of the city comes from the goddess, how could it be forgotten? So the belief in Athena and the method of cultivating the microcosm have been quietly circulated among the people. Every generation will have NPCs with microcosms, or NPCs with more potential in this regard. But these people are generally not masters who have achieved success and fame now. After all, cultivation still needs to be focused. If a person thinks about the fallen goddess all day, he will lag behind in cultivating other abilities. Although this cannot be generalized, it is generally the case. When the goddess Athena was resurrected, they came to the temple of the first female palace to pray, and they would get a vague response from the goddess. This is much better than the almost no response before. The piety to the goddess guided them to exert their potential power and open their own microcosm. So now the first female palace is very powerful, with nearly 500 saints of various levels. The power of the researchers has expanded rapidly. Of course, in this case involving God, the researchers have limited control over these saints. Except for the business related to the goddess and the temple, they can't command these saints at all. Moreover, they will not be willing to be under others for a long time. The Delver is only a 4th level player, and people simply look down on him. The 5 bronze saints are already seeking ways to obtain bronze armor, and this way won't be too difficult. After all, it's just a bronze armor, not that important. Once they obtain an armor, they will have the power to build their own temple. By then, the diversion of the Delver's power will be unstoppable. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1669. Due to the enthusiasm of the goddess believers in Athens, Greece, the second ring task of the researcher Glory of Athena has been completed long ago. The microcosm has increased by 1000 points, and the cornerstone of the Temple of Athena has been added. But the third ring task has not yet been opened. Xiaoming estimated that the system should be waiting to see the situation. If he can get 12 gold saints, he will achieve the hidden achievement all 12 gold saints. In the future, the third and fourth ring tasks will also be upgraded accordingly. However, as long as there is another player, or an NPC who does not belong to him, who obtains any gold saint, then this achievement will never be achieved. The subsequent tasks will also become indistinguishable from the crowd. Now he already has 2 gold saints. One is the first goddess on the researcher, the other is the Cancer on Death Mask. But now I don't know where Death Mask has gone to toss. Anyway, his Cancer Palace has not been built yet. In fact, think about it, if Xiaoming uses all the aliens in the sanctuary, he can include all the gold saints one step earlier. Occupy the strongest voice. But the problem is that the situation in the Greek sanctuary is far more complicated than that in the Nordic Fairy Palace and the Undersea Temple, and there are still a large number of positions for Silver Saints and Bronze Saints to be filled. At that time, Xiaoming had no idea that there would be such a hidden achievement. Even now, Xiaoming is not sure whether it is really possible to achieve the achievement by only taking 12 gold saints. Maybe, the hidden achievement of Athena series requires players to take 88 pieces of saint cloth. Or there may be 3 hidden achievements, corresponding to the 3 levels of saints of gold, silver, and bronze. These are all things that are hard to say, depending on the creator's imagination. There are too many possibilities, and Xiaoming can't figure it out. He shook his head and put aside these distractions. Concentrate on grabbing the saint cloth. In the past, Xiaoming didn't know much about the process and rules, and was even a little overwhelmed. Now after training in the underworld, the Undersea Temple, and the Nordic Fairy Palace, he is full of confidence. The first step is for Xiaoming to pull 3 Transformers into the team of saints. After being strengthened by the Kyber Crystal Weapon series, they have become extraordinary. Armored bulletproof car King Kong Jonghong and primary spaceship King Kong Jongren are now 7th level A-level combat power. They can get a gold armor. Even the experimental energy pistol King Kong Jongnan has reached C level, so it is no problem to get a bronze armor. So Zhang Hong got the Ares gold armor, Zhang Ren got the Taurus gold armor, and Zhang Nan got the Hydra bronze armor. Zhang Ren's mechanical form is a spaceship, which makes him very large. Giving him the Taurus armor feels complementary. The visual impact is very strong. Zhang Hong is also more than twice as tall as a human. Giving him the Ares armor is mainly because Xiao Ming wants to learn the ability of Mr. Ares Mu to repair the armor. Mu is the only person Xiao Ming knows who can repair the armor. The former Pope Shen actually can do it. But he was killed by Saga before the plot began. This incident is a scandal in the sanctuary, so everyone avoided it. Later, Mr. Mu's apprentice Gigi also learned to repair the saint cloth, but at that time Xiao Ming had already left the world of Saint Seiya. It is unknown. Even if I knew, there was nothing I could do. The Pope's saint cloth cannot be exchanged at present, and Gigi has no corresponding saint cloth to buy. There is no way to learn their skills for the time being. I can only think from Mr. Mu. One method can lead to all methods. As long as I learn to repair the saint cloth, I can probably repair the god fighting cloth, scale cloth, and Hades cloth in the future. I can even go further and study the production of saint cloth. This is Xiao Ming daydreaming. Although production and repair have something in common, they are definitely two completely different abilities. If you understand the background of the Saint Seiya world, you will know that the saint cloth was made by alchemists instructed by Athena. Its materials are all legendary substances. Mountain copper is a metal that only gods can use. So it is impossible for him to make saint cloth. In fact, Xiao Ming does not need to study it specifically. Because he has developed the ability of the insect saint cloth. As the insect race expands in the demon world, more and more individuals have insect saint cloth. The more followers he has, the stronger the defense of his own insect armor becomes. Now it is no weaker than Ruan Mingmeng's guardian of love. Let's get back to the point and continue to see the progress in the game. Zhang Nan's mechanical form is a pistol, which is very small and inconspicuous. He is very suitable for assassination, or protecting important people closely, such as the reincarnation of the goddess Athena. Xiao Ming gave him the bronze armor of the Hydra constellation, hoping to strengthen his assassination ability. Because the Hydra Saint Seiya can release poison, Xiao Ming deliberately avoided the armor of the 5 bronze saints. One is that he is worried that he can't beat them and can't pass the test mission, the other is that he wants to keep it for more suitable people to wear. For example, the young Iki and Shun are in the underworld now. If Hades can be completely solved in the future, then Iki and Shun will not be the most suitable bronze saints. As for the other 3, Seiya, Shiryu, and Hyoga, will they also appear? Xiao Ming is not very hopeful. After all, it is a very small probability to recruit the Iki brothers. Now, Xiao Ming only has the uniform series of mind beasts left in his possession. But their ranks are 1-3, and at most they can only be a miscellaneous soldier saint, which is meaningless. Xiao Ming turned his attention to the Universal Treasure Level 3 Summoning Cube. Let's see what's in stock here. I won't talk about the Alien Queen, the 100 female ghosts have already merged with the uniform beast, so they are not considered for the time being. There are also Level 5 Level 20 Nightmare Ghost Freddy, Level 3 Level 30 Rural Killing Zombie Buckner Family, Level 6 Master Salad T and the legendary battleship Silent Mary in the cube. They are all species of the undead system and are not suitable to appear in the ranks of Saint Seiya. It is actually more appropriate to send them to the underworld, but there are no vacancies in the Hades Warriors, so let's arrange them later. Several other groups of people can also consider becoming Saint Seiya. They are, the 3 Minotaurs from level 4-6 from the main game, Amo Lao and Nobu, the advanced level 6 from the Hunter x Hunter Secret Realm, the level 4 martial artists White Man Long, Red Man Ken, and Chinese girl Chun-Li from the Street Fighter Secret Realm, 300 female crane soldiers from the Great Wall Secret Realm. Among them, General Lin Mei is level 3, and the other female soldiers are only level 2. It seems that only a few silver armors can be obtained. There are only 2 level 6 Minotaurs, MaleProtagonist and Nobu, who are quite strong. The others can only be ordinary saints. However, Xiaoming is more confident in these protagonist-type characters. Maybe they are more suitable for the small universe, and their strength will be improved by leaps and bounds. I hope the goddess will give face. The 300 female soldiers are not the protagonists, and the probability of obtaining the constellation armor is very small. But the armor they bring is much better than the armor of ordinary saints. It is more pleasing to the eye to let them become saints. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1670. After the microcosm was opened, the strongest are still the 2 masters, Nobu and MaleProtagonist. It is worth mentioning that Xiaoming obtained these 2 followers from the Hunter x Hunter secret realm. When Xiaoming himself entered the Hunter x Hunter secret realm, he could not use them. Because there was already a group of Nobu and MaleProtagonist in the secret realm. The game system does not allow the same person to appear in the same secret realm. There are similar settings in the Wuxia Planet game. Xiaoming recruited Huangrong as a follower, but he could not bring Huangrong into the Legend of Condor Heroes secret realm for the same reason. Only when Xiaoming goes to other secret realms or the main game can he summon MaleProtagonist and Nobu to help. In general, Xiaoming rarely uses them. Because when Xiaoming chose to let them enter the magic cube, he was not planning on their combat power, but their special mind ability. By sucking blood from the 2 for a long time and regularly, Xiaoming has copied their mind ability. And combined with his own ability, it becomes an even more powerful ability. MaleProtagonist's Purple Smoke Mecha Squadron ability is combined with the ability of the Smoke Fruit. When used, it is far more powerful and flexible than MaleProtagonist. MaleProtagonist himself can only release 216 purple smoke soldiers and beasts at most, and cannot issue 2 complicated orders. If it is operated precisely, it can only control 50 at most. When Xiaoming uses this ability, it is like throwing beans into soldiers, transforming his own energy and body into smoke, not fixed to purple, and then combining it into a humanoid beast. The number varies depending on the combat power of the condensed beast. About 3/8 level soldiers, or 37th level soldiers, or 306th level soldiers, or 3005th level soldiers, or even 30,000 4th level soldiers can be condensed. Of course, beasts of different ranks can also be mixed together, and they don't have to be uniform. This number is actually terrible. And no matter how many levels of beasts, there is no difference in appearance, they are exactly the same. It is enough to give most enemies a headache. The disadvantage is that the beast soldiers created using this ability have relatively single combat capabilities. Except for Xiaoming's body, other beasts can only use physical attack methods. This is because Xiaoming is not familiar with the ability. If he practices more over time, he will probably be able to do better. Nob's ability for Dimensional Apartment is a spatial ability, which is combined by Xiaoming with his own Guangmingding. In the past, Guangmingding space was attached to the housekeeper beast. Every time it was used, the housekeeper had to be summoned first, and then the housekeeper summoned Guangmingding. It was also quite troublesome. And if you want to connect to various parts of the solar system, you have to put a housekeeper beast on standby at each entrance and exit. Once this beast is destroyed, Guangmingding loses that entrance and exit. Now it's good. Guangmingding has become a separate ability, completely decoupled from the housekeeper beast. Entrances and exits can also be set at will. There is almost no limit on the number. Anyway, with Xiaoming's strength, setting hundreds of them will definitely be no problem. At the same time, Xiaoming can lock any entrance and exit. The locked entrance and exit are prohibited from entering and exiting, and can only be opened by Xiaoming's own key. It is more convenient to use. In the past, I rarely let MaleProtagonist and Nobu fight, because I was worried that if they died, I would have nowhere to suck blood and could not copy their abilities. Now, the abilities are already in hand. Xiaoming can let them fight with confidence. After all, they are the strongest masters in the Rubik's Cube, and it would be a waste to leave them unused. Xiaoming opened the small universe for the two, but unfortunately their strength did not rise from B and to A in theory. It is not even the basic level of the Gold Saint. But what was completely unexpected to Xiaoming was that the system actually allowed the researcher to exchange the gold armor for the two. What does this mean? Maybe the goddess thinks that the two 6th level high-level warriors are already very good. After training with the gold armor, promotion to the 7th level is just around the corner, so she simply gives them benefits in advance. But the benefits are not free. As believers, exchanging the armor requires a lot of small universe and faith points, and the gold armor is very expensive. Because this is an advance acquisition, the goddess said, "Is it okay for me to charge twice as much?" Omega, Xiaoming was confused. Is Athena a goddess of wisdom? Or a complete profiteer? She can even think of ways to make money. What's more infuriating is that even though she knows that she is a profiteer and is hoarding goods, the researcher still obediently pays twice the price to exchange for the gold armor. Willing to be slaughtered. If Athena further relaxes the restrictions and allows believers of lower ranks to exchange at a higher price, Xiaoming will definitely continue to exchange, and he will be very happy to pay a small amount of money. Helplessly, Athena only opened up the right to cross-level exchange a little bit. As one of the 12 main gods of Olympus, she also has to have face. Only B and level believers are allowed to exchange for A-level gold armor. B-level believers do not have this benefit. Correspondingly, C and level believers may be able to exchange for silver armor. But it is hard to say whether D and level believers can exchange for bronze armor. Anyway, the two level 6 Minotaurs do not have the right to exchange for gold armor. Xiaoming is not sure whether this is because of the level or the wrong race. I did not get enough information. I don't know if the goddess has any requirements for race. Anyway, the three transformers under Xiaoming have obtained the permission of the goddess. Athena is probably not a narrow-minded racist. As an absolutely positive image in the world of Saint Seiya, she represents justice, kindness, mercy, and all other excellent qualities. The game creator did not label her as a racist. As for the profiteer attribute, the creator actually did not expect it to be discovered. Because normal people have to make repeated and long contributions to exchange for one gold armor, it is difficult for a player to exchange for a second one. Not to mention comparing the price of the two. He does not realize how much he has paid. Only a guy like Xiaoming who pays in one lump sum can notice it. The researcher exchanged the Libra armor for MaleProtagonist. Because the Libra armor comes with 12 weapons, people like MaleProtagonist who can control many beasts at the same time can make full use of it. The one exchanged for Nob was the Sagittarius gold armor. Xiaoming also took a fancy to the bow and arrow on the Sagittarius armor. Nob can hide in his four-dimensional apartment and quietly open the door, and the enemies outside generally cannot see it. Then he shot a sneak attack directly at the enemy in the apartment. It can definitely be achieved by taking the enemy by surprise. Of course, the premise is that he can cultivate a small universe that is enough to shoot an arrow. In this way, Xiaoming has already controlled half of the gold holy clothes. I finally feel a little more at ease. But now is not the time to exchange their special moves. First, Xiaoming is busy grabbing the holy clothes and trying to save time. Second, as long as you pass the test mission of the holy clothes, you can get some special moves for free. It feels a bit of a loss to exchange now.